What is up? What's up, YouTube? So I am back. I'm here with another live. How are you all today? I hope everything is going well. This is another car chat. um, but um, I wanted to come on because y'all, and so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. Um, this live is based on my opinion and my opinion only, and um, everything is alleged unless it's not. And I'm just going based off of what I've seen on the news reports and all of that, right? But y'all, Kanye, in my opinion, based on my therapeutic assessment, Kanye is not well. And I know I mentioned this before in one of my other lives. I can't remember which one it was, but in my opinion, Kanye hasn't been the same. And I think a lot of people would agree with this. He hasn't been the same since his mom passed. And his mental is just not there, y'all. And you could imagine, with losing your mom and things like that, that especially if you, and it appeared to be this way, if you watched his Netflix documentary, what, I forget what it was called, but if you watch that, then you could tell how close, if that was, and I feel like it was a good depiction because the documentary was just based on his friend kind of recording his life at the time. Him, shoot, from the time he was trying to get into the music business and all of that. And so, these were real recordings, and it's almost like Kanye's mom never left his side. She was like his biggest supporter. She was always rooting him on. It seemed like she was the kind of mom, it appeared to me that she was the kind of mom where, it's some moms that want you to go to school, want you to go to college, and, live like a quote unquote straight laced life, you know what I'm saying? Or, do things very proper and things like that. It appeared that she was, I mean, she was educated and all of this, but she wanted Kanye to kind of grow into his own person. Um, and she allowed him to grow in that way. And so he gained a big appreciation for his mom and just, you know, really loved his mom for that, it seemed like to me. And so with that type of support, you got somebody like that in your corner. He had the mind frame that he could do anything. Like, his mom didn't limit his beliefs, she didn't limit um his thought process, or she didn't limit his creativity, and things like that. She allowed Kanye to be Kanye. Now, it also appeared that if he got out of line, or she saw like, okay, you really veering off the deep end, like, she would step in, and she wouldn't step in a manner where it was like, oh my gosh, Kanye, like, what are you doing? It was literally talking to him, like he was an adult, even though it was like she was putting her foot down, but in a very calm but firm way, right? And he respected that. And so for him to lose that, I feel like Kanye has lost his way, you know. And there have been like different, reports of, what his mental health diagnosis is and stuff like that. A lot of times, I told y'all before, I don't really like to diagnoses, you know. a lot of times needed, for legality reasons, logistics and stuff like that. But and sometimes you do have to document a diagnosis. But I feel like ever since then, he just hasn't been the same. And pair that with entering into a family that, in my opinion, their beliefs and their morals and values appear to be totally different from yours. Like, I feel like, I feel like you could be with someone who's totally different from you. That's not an issue. You fall in love with whoever you fall in love with. But when you start to see how they maneuver, how their family maneuvers and things like that, I feel like Kanye ain't got no business around them. Like, he don't have any business around them. Because for the simple fact that I feel like he didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? He grew up with totally different moral, totally different way that you would view the world, and they're not there yet. So, like a case study almost, for lack of a better word. It looks like he hasn't shaved. Usually, when before the manic phase, someone is in like a calm, everything appears to be going well, but that triggers them into that manic state. And we would never know what the trigger is, right? It could have been something that happened, between him and Kim. It could have been something that happened with the kids. Could have been something that happened, in the world that just triggered him. You know what I'm saying? It could have been a memory of his mom, like anything, right? And I will say that if he wasn't, I forget when they started talking about he was had been diagnosed with bipolar. If he wasn't on any medication before then, or if he was dealing with mental health issues before then, I think that was before that his mom had passed. Of course, he was dealing with grief and things like that. But once they did diagnose him with bipolar, I don't know. I would wonder if that's when he started medication, right? That's when he started medication. And sometimes the medication that is prescribed could cause some of those symptoms too. Just depends on the person, right? Especially if, because sometimes too, people with mental health conditions that have severe symptoms, sometimes when they take the medication doesn't make them feel well, right? And then they stop taking it, or the medication makes them feel well and they say, oh, I'm completely better, I'm perfectly fine now, I don't have to take it anymore. And then that it starts to get off balance, right? And then all of a sudden something happens, and then they're back on the medication like a whirlwind, right? So who knows if this behavior is because of that? Those would be the questions that I would be asking, if I was his provider and things like that. But to me, he just looks disheveled. He doesn't look well. It looks like if he isn't in a manic episode right now, that he may be going into one soon. I Another question I would have is, how is his sleep? Like, has he been sleeping on a regular basis? Like, is he up all night? And two, the industry that he's in, with like music and creativity, these are symptoms that people wouldn't really not pay attention to, but really wouldn't trip off of, because when people rationalize being in a creative mode, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we being creative, we up all night, we up till 5 in the morning, we ain't sleep for 2 days, and those could be symptoms of being manic. Like, that's a classic symptom. Like, you are up for days, you're not getting any sleep, you're barely eating, you just up, right? And so one of the questions I would have is, has he been sleeping? Has he been getting any sleep? Is it, regular sleep schedule and things like that? I know they also mentioned that Kim was saying that she had to get like higher security at the kids' school because he had told everybody where the kids go to school, y'all. Like, that tells me, because really, like, you could you could have a mental health diagnosis, you could be, you know struggling mentally. You don't, nobody plays about their kids. Like, nobody plays about their kids. He wouldn't, he really quick. Gotta jump off that I and I will next one. I'll the next one.